Hi, and welcome to what is probably part 22 of Let's Play Pokemon Heart Gold in a Fire Emblem Randomizer Nuzlocke run. This is the level grinding special, so if you only want to see me succeed and do the big interesting gym battles, feel free to skip this one, because this is just going to be leveling to prepare for the Elite Four. Probably the next part is going to actually be the Elite Four itself, but we'll see. In the background there, you should be able to make out the Katamari Damacy OST. That's just going to be our easy listening as we continue level grinding for this video. So these Gyarados haven't actually used any... Oh my god, they have so used water type attacks, you fucking idiot. They have Hydro Cannon. Thankfully Tempest tanked that, because I guess Hydro Cannon is a special attack. Otherwise I would have just killed my Charizard. That was so dumb. I stepped away from my computer for like 10 minutes between parts, and I fucking forgot that was a thing. You know what? That scared me enough. I'm gonna go heal. Not even using an item. That's right. We're going all the way back here and jamming the A button, which is X, and then jamming the B button, which is Z, and then getting the fuck out and going back. Okay. Those probably have water type attacks, so we'll switch to what? Muddy water? Fucking dick. Ew. It'd be nice if I had like Thief or something. I could get a bunch of these Lumberries off of these Mews. If you haven't played the Katamari Damacy games, strong recommend. There's at least one of them on the Switch eShop, so... They're great. You play a tiny little dude who pushes around a ball, and anything that's smaller than the ball, or a certain amount smaller than the ball, I should say, sticks to it. And you want to make the ball as big as possible. So you're rolling around, and like at the start you'll be like picking up paper clips and like beetles and stuff, and then as you're getting bigger, you're getting like people's shoes and like toothbrushes and things, and then you're even bigger and like you're sucking up their cat and their groceries, and then you're even bigger and you're rolling over people and cars and things, and it's so great. It's a really satisfying game. It's got this great whimsical charming soundtrack that we're listening to right now. Its visual aesthetic is beautiful. So yeah, strong recommend on the Katamari Damacy games. If you want something like very low stakes and silly to play. You chase down a dog and be like, hey, fuck you, dog, you're getting on my ball. And then your dad's like, I'm gonna turn this into a planet, or a star. And you go, yeah, dog planet, dog star. So, I think 55 is probably like a safe area to aim for. As I've mentioned, I don't know what level the Elite Four is, and I'm not going to check, I'm not going to get told by Twitch chat. I am just going to, like, gut instinct and say that 55 is probably on the upper echelon of what they have without being above what they have. And I am going to be bringing a bunch of items in, so I do intend to, like, fully heal with potions and shit between battles. Crash Twinsanity. I have not played Crash Twinsanity, but the soundtrack was completely a cappella, which does sound genuinely interesting. Neat. Take this, Ninkata. Haha! What move? Fire Blast. Nope. I mean, I wouldn't mind Tempest having more than 2 types of attacks, but, you know, we'll make do if we have to. This Charizard is so good. I think it's the Pokemon I've had the most out of all of my current team. Magic Guard is just a bonkers good ability. We haven't seen it crop up that much as like super useful yet, but it's like, it's reassuring to have, you know, like you know that Sandstorm's not going to affect you, Toxic's not going to bother you, Stealth Rock's not going to bother you, Curse isn't going to bother you. There's so many things that like, you can just not worry about because you know, I have Magic Guard. So Free Tempest points out the mythical Pokemon, those being like Mew, Celebi, Jirachi. Shaman doesn't count, I think, but it might. Anyway, the mythical Pokemon are kind of weirdly underwhelming because they have 100 on all base stats. Legendaries generally have 600 total. The mythicals specifically have 100 on each of the stats for a total of 600. But it's got this weird issue where like that makes them a bit jank because like offensive Pokemon often rock up with like 130, 150 base attack or base special attack. And so they're not like strong enough to like power through shit, so by default they end up being like balls with semi-decent coverage. But even then, like 100, 100, 100 is totally fine for a mixed wall. But if you need a wall for something specific, you probably need, like, something with more special defense or more physical defense, depending on what you need the coverage from. So, they're good. They're not... Oh, Jesus Christ. That Crab Hammer did a fair bit. Alright, Sky Snake's first time out as a Dragonite. Discharge! And now we're gonna go heal, because I didn't like that. Didn't like that at all. Yeah, Jirachi, yeah. Healy boys. I mean, they're still good enough that they're annoying in here right now. Because they, like, don't get one hit, and they don't give much XP. So, these Mews are a nuisance, is what I'm saying. I reckon when Tempest is level 50, so after I kill this, I'll switch. That won't be the strongest, it won't be like at the level I want it to be to go in, but I want to like be able to use other things and get them up to speed. Oh, my thoughts on Mega Revolutions. I like them. I really like them. They're interesting, they're cool, they give old Pokemon new life. There are a couple of Pokemon that utterly deserved them and didn't get them. Everyone knows who I'm talking about right now. Flygon. But like, Mega Beedrill is insanely cool. Mega Pidgeot. A lot of Megas breathe life into a Pokemon that otherwise was kind of missing it. It's a bit of a shame that they could have given more out. And they could have given them to more deserving targets. Like, Mega Garchomp is like, okay. Like, cool, but Garchomp is already all that. So why not give it to, like, Flygon instead? Like, seriously, what the fuck? And, like, there are other Pokemon that totally could have gotten them, and it would have been awesome. But, on the whole, Mega's fun. I like what they do for, like, the psychology of playing the game. Like, when you looked at your opponent's team and it's like, okay, they have a Metagross and a Charizard and this other thing, and like I've got to work out which one of them is likely to be the Mega so I can best respond to it. So I liked the extra layer of thinking that it added to the game without invalidating it. I think that Gigantamaxes are less interesting. Like, okay, cool, I can do it to any of my Pokemon, which is nice, but the flip side of that is, okay, I've got more health, and my attacks have, like, secondary effects. Neat. I really dislike the theming of it. I really dislike, it makes you big. Not a fan of that. But, like, mechanically there are interesting things that come out of them. But yeah, just like the visuals of it, the mechanics, the like narrative mechanics of it, ugh, don't like it. Don't like it. I probably shouldn't stay in. Super King can't stay in on a lot of the Pokemon I'm grinding against here, can it? Like, ground type means I can't stay in against the Gyarados. Poison type means I can't stay in against the Gardevoir. At least I can stay in on the Zapdos, which are giving decent XP. But Super King's having a little bit of a hard time here. I know Super King's only been on the team for a little bit, so he hasn't had his time to shine. I'm hoping it manifests at some point. His Mews don't have any real offensive power, so that's fine. Now that Sky Snake's evolved, I'm feeling a lot more secure against water types in general, and with the discharge given to it as well. It's not perfect, but like, it still resists water type. It's a lot bulkier, and it's got a coverage option on them now, so we're good. We're feeling happy. Crab Hammer. Is that Gyarados like using a Kingler as a hammer? Just hiya! I can believe that. The Kingler guy would be upset to hear me say that. Maybe it's using a Crawdon. It uses a lesser... No, actually, no. It's using a Kingler. It's like, I need the best crab for my crab hammering. Yeah, Psybeam does nothing. Even though it's super effective. Sky Snake. It's not Snake anymore. Taking all bets on renaming this Dragonite. I wouldn't mind a clever name. What could I name it? Arthur? No. I could tap into my, like, dumb 13-year-old self and go for, like, Eragon. I liked Eragon when I was 13. I don't now. Sky Daddy. Why do you want all of my Pokemon to be Daddy? It's a strange kink that you're, like, flexing onto me. Sapphira. I feel like that was the name of the dragon in Eragon, wasn't it? Eragon was the dude and Sapphira was the dragon. But I don't actually want to go with a Eragon themed name. So Twas. Oh, Twas the name of the dragon from Eragon. Right, yeah, cool. That makes perfect sense in response. I'm just slow. And I looked at that and went, why would I name a Dragonite Twas? Jump up there and heal. Back in we go. Victory Rod. Tyrion for the irony. Do I have any recommendations for dragon-centered fiction? Yes, actually. This is a book I read a long time ago. I haven't read it in a while, so I don't know if it holds up. But Glass Dragons. I couldn't even tell you the author. But I remember it being a lot of fun. It's got, like, a sense of humor that's really juvenile, but, like, innocently so. Like, there's this one guy who starts off in the book, and he's, like, a bit of a dickhead. He's up himself, and he's, like, sleazy. And so he, at one point, he puts the moves on this witch, who he doesn't know is a witch, and she's like, what's wrong, bro? Why are you acting like this? Why are you being so weird? And she gets annoyed enough by him that she curses him, and she turns his dick into, like, a little dragon head. So, and, like, the dragon head is, like, super protective of him and doesn't like, anytime it sees someone else, it gets really mad at them. So, like, he can't seduce anyone now, because anytime he takes his pants off, there's just this little dragon head penis monster there that, like, yells at them. So it's great. I don't remember a lot of the other aspects of the book. That's the one that's, like, stuck with me, because it's been, like, a solid 12 or 13 years since I've read it. But now you've made me think of that, I'm gonna have to unearth my copy of Glass Dragons and give that another read. I don't think it was too chunky of a book. It's probably the sort you can bowl over in, like, 2 days of actual reading, where, you know, you're spending, like, a couple of hours. See, I recounted that story, and I said in my brain, I went, you know what, Glass is actually a pretty cute name to give this Dragonite, because like glass dragons, and it reminds us all of that funny story I shared. Free Tempest heard that story and went, "You should call your Dragonite penis." Thanks, Free Tempest. You want me to reread it and tell you if it holds up? I can do that in like 3 or 4 parts. If someone reminds me when I'm recording in a few days from now, I'll be like, "Oh, I reread Glass Dragons, and this is what I think of it now." You know what? Naming Dragonite Glass actually might not be the best idea because it implies fragility. I mean, I could just name it Dragon. Ah, it's fine. We'll put that on the backbench for now. Sky Snake is fine. So if inspiration strikes, I'll mix it up. Same with Super King, honestly. Super King was just sort of like, okay, I need something for this. So if I have a bolt of lightning strike my brain, I'll mix it up. Katamari. Super King's chugging along, getting there now. One round most of these things I'm grinding against. So much level grinding. And like I've like gone out of my way to battle all the trainers and do all that. I've mostly been using the same team. Like there's been some subs and some deaths, but I feel like I should be higher level than I am with the amount of like time that's gone into this. Revisiting this, yeah, like damn, the level curve in this game is particularly out of whack with what you'd expect. So there's a Harry Potter Pokemon cross-fiction where Dragonite was one of Dumbledore's Pokemon and it delivered Hogwarts letters. That's cute. That works with the theming of like Dragonite from Mewtwo Strikes Back and everything. That's charming, I like that. Whoop. Gonna have to go here. Why don't I do that for a bit of time wasting while I'm playing? I'm gonna give some. I'm gonna take some guesses as to what Pokemon were used by like people in this. Okay, so did Professor Quirrell have a Girafarig? I think Girafarig would be a funny option for Quirrell. Yeah, 2 heads. What other Pokemon would be? So Dumbledore would have like Dragonite. If we wanted the like Phoenix, we could go for like Moltres. Sure, it's a legendary, but he's a strong boy. He can have a bit of a legendary as a treat. What Pokemon would Harry have? I guess like Hoot for Hedwig. If you want something that's representative of Dobby the House Elf, what would you get? Maybe like Shuppet. Left field call, Shuppet. Ron would have Eradicate. That's actually his Zoroark. No one knows that. He doesn't even know. His Eradicate's actually his Zoroark. Oh, Ho-Oh. Yeah, Ho-Oh makes more sense than Moltres for Dumbledore, and also in Aegislash, Chimchar, and Riolu. Okay. I'll give that a stamp. Super King's level 48, he's chugging along. There's so many Pokemon to level, so much leveling to be done, so much time taken to level. Good thing we've got good tunes and good company to get us through it. Harry had a Greninja? I guess. That one sounds kind of weird to me. But, yeah. I'm sure the author made it work. Generally you give authors like a bit of a pass. Ron had an Arcanine because the Weasleys were fire trainers, because the Weasleys are all big old redheads. That works. That's theming. A bit of a bummer that Dragonite's ability is so butts. Oh well. Alright, Super King's got one more level, but we're gonna... hang on. We're gonna heal. No need to rush to the grave. Dun diddly dun. And back down we go. So Super King's gonna hit level 50. Alright, there's Zapdos done. And here's Carnivine done. Getting there. Getting there. And this is still not 55, which is where I said I would. Quidditch played with Pokemon. That would sound... That sounds... unfathomable. I'm not able to picture that in my head. But that's fine. I'm over Harry Potter now. So we'll move on from the Potter, and instead kill this Mew. Man, wouldn't it have been cool if I had a Croconaw or a Feraligatr right now? Sure is a shame that got fucked up. And that should be it. Yep, okay, cool, level 50. So we have 3 at 50 or above. So many Mews. To think they had so much trouble finding one. Idiots, just look in Victory Road. There's a bunch. Alright. Oh wow, it lived. Alright, gotta go heal. Oh, not the fearsome Magikarp. I like Magikarp. It's fun. Dumb fish that jumps and turns into a big angry water snake. Sick. I like a lot of Pokemon though. So Free Tempest Explanation kind of helps me visualize Pokemon Quidditch as like a big old weirdo fights, but you know, there are people who like try to play Quidditch in real life, and I'm like, that's a bit much, guys. So long as you're having fun, power to you, but that's a bit much for me. What What do you think, Metagross? Concerned about the trap? What? What trap? What? Oh. I love the weird noises of fucking Katamari Damacy. It's so good fun. Feint attack to get this Mew down. Can't make it faint in one hit because of that base special defense and physical defense I mentioned earlier. Your friend actually runs the Quidditch Society at their school. I mean, like I said, that's a bit much for me, but if people are having fun, go for it. So long as what you're doing involves every party consenting and enjoying themselves, that's okay. Within reason, there are some things where, like, even if someone consents, probably shouldn't cook and eat them. I found that one out the hard way. Oh, I've been asked the question, can children consent? And I'm going to say, in a lot of situations, no. There are plenty of things children can't consent to. That question was asked as a joke, but I'm going to answer it sincerely. There are plenty of things children can't consent to because they don't know, don't have a full understanding, or there is a disparate power dynamic in their relationship between them and the other individual. So there are absolutely situations in which I would say no, a child cannot consent. They might think they want something, they might think they'll enjoy something, but it's not in their best interest. I'm not even going to go into, like, the dark, grim, horrible examples, but, like, just looking at more mundane parenting things. If you asked a kid, do you want ice cream for dinner and breakfast every single day, a lot of kids would say yes. But that doesn't mean that's what they should have, because they don't have the full grounding of understanding and information on how your diet impacts you and the way it changes your body and the way it changes your mind too. Like, the way you eat will change how you think and can, like, severely affect them. So a child can't consent to, like, having complete control over something as simple as their diet because they don't have enough life experience and, like, reasonable things to make an informed decision. Part of consent is an informed decision, which children don't have all the tools to make in a lot of situations. So there's a real world and stern answer to a question that was asked purely in jest. And no, once you're an adult, yeah, sure, you can totally consent to eating a bunch of ice cream because you're making the informed decision of knowing that it's not healthy to have it for every meal of the day. But at that point you can be like, well, I know that, I know what the ramifications are, and I can either compensate by going more healthy in other aspects of my life, or live for a good time, not a long time. But you don't want, like, children to have so much autonomy that they self-destruct like that. Alright, back to heal. Yeah. How we doing? I think we're level 49 right now. Yep. 49. We've got decent team right now. We're getting close to, like, halfway. That's my life motto. No kids, no responsibilities. I don't intend to become a father either. I like kids. I love my niece. I'd be very happy if my siblings had children or more children. But, but yeah, I don't think that I want the complete change to my life that would come with parenthood, even though I can very much respect and see the value in it. Anyway, Free Tempest has asked me to make a challenge. So, I expect this challenge will be completely failed, for the record, before I actually get into it. Because none of the videos, I think part 1 got YouTube comments and none of the other parts have. Because, like, I imagine most of the people who actually click on the video are subscribers from way back when, who might use me as background noise, but not really anything else, which is perfectly respectable. No one owes me their time and engagement, but Free Tempest has said, if you have watched this part this far in and are paying attention, comment the word banana, and you will win the prize of absolutely nothing but being in on it and knowing that you participated. So go ahead and comment banana on this video for a chance to win nothing. Actually, no, here's the deal. If you comment banana, you can request tracks to be used in the sped up grinding sections of the videos. I will slap a qualifier on that. The music you request can't have like extensive English vocals, because otherwise it distracts me and I have a hard time talking over that. Non-English is okay, and not something that you think is liable to get the video taken off of YouTube for containing. So like, I don't really know what the parameters for that are. Copyrighted material. Some of the videos I've uploaded have like got a flag on them that says this has copyrighted material, but it doesn't seem to really care. I can't monetize the videos, but I'm never going to monetize any of my shit anyway, because I'm not doing this with the vain, ignorant hope that I can make money off of it. I'm doing this because it makes me laugh. I enjoy doing it a little bit. And some people enjoy watching the Twitch streams. I've got a friend who's watching the YouTube videos, and that's about all I need to motivate me to do it, at least in the continued short term. But yeah, if you comment banana, you can also, if you want, request tracks to be used in the background. I will note that this is part 20 something being recorded right now, and before I started recording this part, I uploaded part like 13 or 14 to YouTube, so the YouTube videos are a bit behind, notably because I keep forgetting to to upload them. So instead of it being a daily upload, it's like one every 2 days or so, and I'm recording these more or less daily, and sometimes more than one a day, so it might be a while. Do I know thriller, mystery, or psychological books you recommend? The Woodcutter by Reginald Hill. It's a fun time while a little ridiculous. I haven't read many thrillers. I had a bit of a phase with them in my early 20s, but that was a while ago, so I haven't heard Reginald Hill. You'll need to mark that name down for me, because I'm not gonna remember that you recommended this. I'll try to write it down once. What do I mean try? There's a fucking pen and paper right next to me. Reginald Hill, the Woodcutter. There we go. Boom, done. Can't promise I'll read that anytime soon. I do have a decent backload of books to read. Right now I'm on a bit more of a non-fiction than fiction bent, which is fine. But yeah, I do read a decent amount of books. I generally get through at least one a week. On top of the, like, less structured stuff I'm reading, like Ward, the sequel to Worm that I've spoken about in the past. That is very close to being finished, I believe. So, pretty soon, the author will start uploading a new book, and I'll be reading that one too, of course. I liked all four of the full stories they've written, those being Worm, Pact, Twig, and Ward. They've given us a Wild Bow, the author, has given some indication of what his next book is going to be, but I don't have a full picture on it yet. I look forward to it. His works are always a bit of fun, and it's a good community to engage with and get excited with and chatter with as you go on. So, a bit of fun. Reading's enjoyable. wonder how suicidal it would be for me to go in with everything closer to 50 than 55. I mean, it sure sounds suicidal when I say it out loud. It sounds really suicidal. It'd be dumb. Might do it. We'll see. Let's get Daddy some levels first. 67 experience. Wow, these magic ups are not worth. How much do I think the levels jump between Claire, whose lead was level 41, and the Elite Four? I'm pretty sure. Well, I'm not pretty sure. From memory, the Elite Four starts around like 46, 47 and ends up being like 54, 55. That's from memory. So, I'm like 55, 60% on that. But I'm not super confident with it either. Obviously, 55, 60 is not a ringing endorsement by any stretch of the imagination. So, I am feeling like 50 is probably a decent option, particularly when I've got some, like, a lot of my Pokemon have phenomenal base stats, like Dragonite, Metagross, to a degree Charizard as well. I mean, all of them to a degree have quite chunky stats. It's not like I'm coming in with Ledibur and Sunkern or anything. So, I don't think... I don't know. I've played decently to get to this point, as I have, and I've got a lot of good options, so... Oh, it's gonna take a long time to grind this thing, isn't it? You're not fairy type yet, so that's just gonna fucking crush you. We are back. Daddy wants to learn Swift. Honestly kind of tempted, because it's a special attack. Honestly kind of tempted because it's perfect accuracy, which, as I've vocalized quite a few times, is important to me. But it's also a special attack coming off of a fucking Machamp, so nah, I'm good. Alright, Daddy is so low leveled compared to everything else. And you just tried to use Fissure on him. These fucking Ninkatas. I've got to make sure I don't, like, stay in on them. Like, I get, like, because so long as I'm lower leveled than them, they will just try to click the Fissure button and fuck me. Yeah. I mean, this team is strong. No bones about it. This is like a powerful collection of Pokemon. Fuck's sakes. There we go. What's that? Luna Dance? Oh no! Jesus Christ, we're not using the suicide move. I don't remember that attack. I remember Healing Wish or Healing Gift that does the same thing. Did not realize there was a psychic type version of that. So, both Daddy and Consult are so low level that this is gonna take a decent chunk of time. feeling confident because everyone else did it comparatively quickly in the end. But it's much faster when you're strong enough to like stay in one round to the opponent and get all the XP for yourself. I'm not even staying. Oh my god. How much does Vital Throw do here? There we go. And that still gave no XP at all. Can you tell that I'm generally a relatively impatient person? I try to hold my patience when dealing with people, but when I'm dealing with things, it can leave me frustrated sometimes. It's an aspect of my personality I've worked pretty hard on moderating, so I'm a lot better than I was when I was a shitty teenager. But I have to work to make sure that I stay self-reflective and consistently trying to improve the way I react to stimuli. You can't change how you feel about certain things, like the gut feeling might always be a certain way, but you can put in a lot of work and change how you respond to feelings. And I've done that to a limited degree of success. I'm certainly not a great example of being a person, but you know, I put in a bit of work to be a decent one. Why do they have to be Magikarps? If there weren't Magikarps here, I'd be getting like a bunch more XP because I wouldn't be wasting my time on them. I think the Magikarps are probably Zubats because there's Magikarps and Gyarados, so I think the Magikarps might be mapped over Zubat and the Gyarados mapped over Golbat. I don't quite know how the randomizing works on these, so I could be way off base with that statement, but it feels that way, if you know what I'm saying. There might be other Pokemon that is in here, like what... I don't remember what Pokemon would normally be appearing in this area. Why are Machoke and Machamp just like almost naked buff dudes? They're by far the most humanoid Pokemon. Interesting to think about how they came to be. I mean, alright, I don't wanna get too deep into a thing here. But let's get a little bit deep into a thing here. Just a little bit. Just dip our toe in the water. So let's look at that. Like, you take off the upper arms, and you take off the fins on the head, and like, Machoke could be mistaken for like a stylized dude. Like, anime does that a lot, and manga does that a lot with the mouth of Machamp, where like certain characters, instead of having like lips or just like a relatively undefined mouth, will have like this hyper exaggerated like facial structure. They often do it for like buff dudes. For an off-the-cuff example, Sato, the sugar guy in My Hero Academia, has that kind of mouth, whereas like these big, chunky, like sausage lips. So, don't know why that's what Machamp is, but it's what it is. I'm not sure I'd say that they're the most humanoid Pokemon. Like, next time a Gardevoir comes up on screen, let's look at one of them. Because, like, aside from the fin, like, spiking out of their chest, that thing could just be like a woman in a dress with, like, a bicycle helmet on. And, like, let's not get into Jinx and the whole deal there. Because, you know, woof. Doing that thing where someone, like, pulls at their shirt collar or their tie. Yeah, see, like, look at that. Like, that's just a lady. That's just a lady. There's no... There's a fainted lady. What? Oh, I don't like leveling this Machamp in this place. Gonna have to do it with Kabutops as well, unless I make a Sudden decision to change Kabutops for something else. Before I started this part, I acknowledged this is probably going to be a long... It's going to take a while to level grind, or I'm going to have to do, like, multiple videos to level grind. And now that I'm halfway through an attempt, I'm like, but I'm bored of it. So juvenile. I'm just enjoying this tune. Alright, we are now level 30. We've gained 7 levels since I started leveling. Daddy. I mean, yeah, it's important that I do this leveling. Not doing it would be potentially disastrous. And I like Machamp, so having a Machamp in the party, it's cool. Everything here I like, to differing degrees. I think if I had to rank them, I'd go Dragonite, Nidoking, Dragonite, Machamp, actually, then Nidoking. These two are pretty close. Kabutops, Charizard and Metagross, I like them both, but they're also, like, very popular. And I'm definitely not, like, contrarian hipstery, where it's like, oh, this thing's popular, so I will have an aversion to it in response to that popularity. But to a degree, I am, like, kind of ambivalent about the two of them, beyond their, like... No, they're good at what they do. So, I shouldn't shit talk them. I do like them both. They're just not in my, like, highest bracket of Pokemon. Which is fine. Sure is a shame that Galvantula's not in this game. I would have been so hyped to have a Galvantula for a Nuzlocke run. I love that little bug. It's so cool. Back in. Oh, man, these Magikarps. I'd rather run from them, but like there's the chance that they'll go, cannot escape. So it's like, okay, I'll take a small hit and use Discharge, but even that's annoying. These Kangaskhans, I don't think they have any offensive options, so at least I can stay in on them. And that's a decent yunk of XP right there. Not staying in on the moths, though. I think 50. I can't go all the way to 55 for everyone. If this is the stream, I can donate with bits. This is... Dang, it never works. You really don't need to donate. I don't know if I, as a streamer, need to set up a mechanism for people to do it. But I don't want donations. It's very charming when people offer them, but this is just me doing dumb things to amuse myself. Like, if you want to donate... I don't even know what donating bits is. I don't Twitch very much, guys. But thank you very much for your generous offer. Oh, and you're drunk too. Part of why I'm recording this right now is I am going to get munted later on tonight and play Mountain Blade while super duper drunk. So I decided I'd record some parts a little bit earlier, as well as like wanting to play. Yeah, I don't know specifically what I have that I'm going to drink. I've got a bunch of different alcohols to choose from. I like making cocktails, but I'm probably not going to make cocktails tonight because, like, making cocktails while drunk is a very messy experience. It's going to be a lot of fun, though. Yeah. I think I'll probably start with, like, Fireball whiskey and Coke, which is like a cinnamon whiskey. It's got a real nice tartness to it. It's good to do shots if you're out and want to get... Like, if you need to catch up to your friends who are already drunk, shots of Fireball, and you'll be with them in no time. Then once I've had a couple, like 1 or 2 fireballs and Coke, I'll switch to something like real easy to drink, like a CC and Dry, a Canadian Club, which is just real enjoyable. I'm definitely not setting up a Patreon. No, I don't want to. I don't want to set up any mechanism that turns this into like an obligation. I want this to be as enjoyable and easy for me as it is, and as enjoyable and casual for you as you want it to be. The 12-year Glenfiddich, 16-year. Nice. Yeah, I've got a pretty accepting palate when it comes to alcohol. I'll drink most anything. The one alcohol that I like will turn down, I would say, is gin, which is a bit unusual. My mother drinks gin quite a bit, and I make a lot of gin and tonics when I'm spending time with it, but I've never like clicked with it. Ah, Glenlivet. Oh yeah. But like, most anything else I'll have and enjoy and appreciate. If I had to pick like a specific drink to be drinking more consistently than others, probably Bailey's. Just like Bailey, there's a reason it's so ubiquitous. Bailey's is real easy to drink, it's got a nice flavor, there's no harshness, the aftertaste is pleasant and negligible on top of that, which is another plus. And just like, Bailey's is so easy to have. We're the same person. Yeah. This song is very ethereal, Katamari Damacy. Bops. I don't remember what level this plays in. I'm imagining some sort of like space-themed zone with all this. Drink a buttload of like beer is fine, but I prefer cider if I'm going to be drinking not spirits. Wine, I've grown more of a palate for wine than I had when I was younger. My family have a little bit of a tradition whenever we do like a big annual get-together, so sometimes mostly around Christmas, but sometimes we just fit it in somewhere else where we can, where everyone who wants to participate buys 2 bottles of red wine. That they buy like the same bottle twice, and it has to be a $30 or less bottle. So everyone comes to the whatever family gathering we've got on, and then I will set up blind tastings of all of the wines that we have. So some of these wine challenges we've done have only had like 8 entrants. I think the biggest was like 26 of us. So I open one of each of the bottles that people have donated, I pour several glasses of them, and everyone samples the wines without knowing which is which. They then vote on their favourite, and the top 3, we pour more glasses of those ones, and everyone votes again after sampling the top 3, and the winner, whoever brought in the most popular bottle of red wine after the family does the blind tasting, whoever wins that gets all the second bottles. So they get a bunch of red wine. It's a bit of fun. Everyone gets to pretend to be like some cultured snobby person. One of my cousins is actually a not a sommelier. They're a wine waiter, but she actually has worked in vineyards and has a degree in a related field. But she herself has never actually won the wine challenge, which is great because both of her sisters have, so it's a cause of a bit of a joke and a laugh between them, and everyone gets into the whole challenge and has fun. Yeah, it's just like charming and wholesome and just like a fun way for the family to interact while getting absolutely sloshed. So generally we do it with red wine. People have bandied about the idea of doing it with a white, but that's more challenging because you've got to refrigerate them all, which means people need to get there and then like wait a bunch of time before we actually do the wine challenge part of the day. But it's a lot of fun, pretty easy to do, doesn't require too much setup or anything, and everyone can sort of get into it and hype themselves up. Rain Dance, I actually have to be aware of what attacks that Gyarados uses. Occasionally Watt has been taking way more damage from the Gyaradoses than I expect. I think they've been setting up with Rain Dance and I haven't noticed. So, it's okay, it hasn't like caused a disaster yet. No one's fainted. And we're getting there. It's not quick, but you know, that's fine. Oh, yeah. I don't know if all of Australia's colloquial language regarding alcohol is just Australia specific, but we do have a lot of like language for it. Like if you've been paying attention to the way I speak about it every time this topic comes up, I have a bunch of different ways to refer to getting drunk. Munted, sloshed, hammered, juiced, booted. No, I don't really use that one much, but that's one that my father sometimes uses. Tanked. Yeah, and then there's a bunch of other terms for like other things around alcohol that get bandied about. We drink a lot as a society. Fucked up. Yeah, that's see, that one overlaps with certain other substances, and you know, I might not heavily, but I might. I probably shouldn't admit to too many crimes while hanging out on Twitch. I will say I haven't broken any laws around quarantine or anything. I have barely left the house in a little over a month. I've gone shopping and I walked the dog, but haven't seen or hung out with anyone or anything like that. Yeah, there's not going to be any speed ups during the Elite Four. That's a very fair thing to want me to enforce. So nothing to worry about there. My quarantine's been going on a touch longer than most people's because I was actually sick around like the middle of March, and there was the potential I had it, so I was very isolated then. And even after that wore off, I stayed pretty separate from everyone else, just in case. You know, you can still be infectious for a long while after having it, or you can be asymptomatic and be infectious. So, I played it safe. I've been playing it safe, and I will wait for experts to say that it's okay to start going back to normal. It's important. There's the important distinction there. Experts, not fucking talking heads, not government ministers who have an economic incentive to restart things before we're ready. Medical experts who study and understand it are the ones that I will listen to. Yeah. Just... Ooh, another Gary. Gary does NOS. I don't do NOS, that's not healthy. The substances I enjoy, I am still very careful and considered with. Just to reassure you all, I don't go like shooting ice up my bum or anything horrifying like that. You know, certain things are enjoyable and they cause no medium or long-term alterations, so long as you use them in severe moderation, and they're a change in perspective or sensation that you can't replicate through other means, and they're quite engaging for that. So, that's the sort of thing I'm willing to go for in safe circumstances. Yeah, Gyarados is weird. It doesn't get any real, like, flying type moves. I think in later gens it gets, like, move, tutor, bounce, but I could be wrong on that. Alright, Daddy's leveling, but I think we can all agree that we're getting to the end of this part, so there's going to be a second part of the level grinding special, I reckon. Because we've still got to get Daddy up, and we've also got to decide if we want Consult or someone else, and then do the level grinding necessary for that. Yeah, we're aiming for 50 for everyone as a minimum. Sky Snake, Watt, and probably Tempest and Super King will be above 50 by the time we're done, but that's okay. And then we go into our hardest challenge yet. The Elite 5. I mean, it was a surprise in Kanto when there was a champion, but now it's just silly. There's 5 of them. We all know. I will say, I really liked in Sun and Moon that you are the first champion, and then you can, like, have challenges to that slot. I think it could have been better implemented, but damn, it was interesting and engaging. Alright, ideally, I'll get Daddy to level 40, and then we'll call it here for this episode. So we've got a couple levels left. Probably got enough Katamari music to get us through to the end. And remember, if you have commented banana on this YouTube video, you have the right to request some non-English vocal music to be the background for any sped up content. Also, I will say, if you are ever watching on Twitch, as I'm sure you've heard me mention Free Tempest and Munga Bless's names more than once, as well as some others who are lovely, happy visitors who I appreciate having. If you are here live on Twitch when I'm doing stuff, you also get the ability to sort of request things or bring up certain topics, and then I respond to that, and you can hang out if you think that sounds like fun. Listen to this fucking kid. Kingler guys. It's kind of like a wrestling gimmick, you know, like, you're like, this is weird, but it's interesting that this guy with, like, this weird wrestling gimmick is here hanging around. He commits to the character, if nothing else. I don't know if that Kingler guy is someone who, like, watched me on YouTube, as I think everyone else who watches on Twitch is, or if he's someone who just, like, haunts Twitch Pokemon channels, and then, like, jumps into Pokemon players and is like, you should use Kingler. Yeah, I will say, I disapprove of the whole, like, being an idiot with the homophobia stuff. So, we called him out on that in real time, as well you should when you see that kind of thing. Like, staying quiet on people being, like, trashy or, like, derogatory towards people. It's not an endorsement, but it is conditioning them to feel like they're capable of doing it. Because when they don't see any resistance to that, they feel like they can do it again, because they didn't get that negative. So push back when you see that kind of thing, folks. Just be like, hey, don't be a dickhead, dummy. You don't need to make a big deal out of it. Unless, like you can. You're within your rights to. But even if you're a non-confrontational person, you can just be like, hey, you shouldn't say that kind of thing. And then just leave it there. And if they keep going after that, you don't need to, like, pick up the argument. Like, you can just be like, look, I've said my piece, and then dip out. That's fine. But, you know what isn't fine? Taking 6 years to level up a Machamp. This is going to be chunky. Just reached over and pressed cancel on the timer. I know that this part is going on longer than an hour. We all know that this is going on longer than an hour. But that's fine. We're going to get to level 40 and then call it for this episode. Next episode we'll do more level grinding and see where we stand in terms of 4 Elite. I know I do have a couple more rare candies, but I'd rather just sort of sit on them for leveling things up into evolutions if we need to, or for just having when we're like really high level and just like want to bump up past certain thresholds a bit quicker. You know, that just sounds a bit easier. Feint attack. Dragon Claws. It would be nice to get Dragon Claw on my Dragonite, because, you know, physical attack over special. Man, he went from Tinted Lens to Stench. Should have just left her as a Dragonair. Idiot. But, live and learn. Dragonites, like, the better stats more than make up for the slightly disappointing ability. At least it's not like Truant or something. That would be emotionally devastating. I'm pretty sure I disabled the possibility for Pokemon to have, like, bad abilities, like abilities that make the Pokemon worse to have. But, you know, this is fine. Gotta be close. Might need one more after this, or Zapdos gets poisoned into the ground. Yeah, one more. Unless it's another fucking Magikarp, then it'll be two more. Nah, this should do it. Let's use Vital Throw. Boom! Done! 40. What move? Psych Up? Copy stats changes? Nah, I'm good. Kids say the darndest things, and so does Twitch chat. It's interesting that instead of, like, this is something I've noticed with a lot of streamers. Here I am with, like, 2 people who comment actively, and yet I still anthropomorphize the chat as a singular entity. It kind of makes sense when people with, like, 1,500 people commenting every minute, and they can't pick out individual names and see a consistent trend is, but it's interesting that we anthropomorphize, like, a collective conversation as a singular identity. But that, you know, quiet observation there. Anyway, we've saved, we've healed, and we're close to being ready. But we're not there yet. So, for now, we're just going to say thanks for watching, and see you later.